26th, rather, of February 2025 at the East London International Convention Centre. It is the Policy Development Conference, proudly brought to you by Lovedale TVET College in partnership, of course, with their council. Now, we are speaking policy development, and one of the esteemed delegates from the college, that is Mr. You know what? I think if I do the introduction now, I will not be doing this man justice. He is the HR coordinator that speaks to the Corporate Services Department of the Lovedale College, located in King Williamstown in the beautiful province of the Eastern Cape. As Mr. Oscar Moboyane would say, the home of legends. Joining me right now, he is spearheading the Corporate Services Department at Lovedale College, and I want him to tell me specifically with policies regarding corporate services. When we speak of corporate services, we are speaking of ICT, we're speaking of marketing, the legal department, we are speaking of several other departments that one would not think they actually fall within corporate services. But from the discussion that was tabled today, and the policies that were mentioned today, and the gaps that have been found and are being addressed today, I want him to specifically tell me about the policy that he believes today is speaking or is addressing infrastructural changes within the TVET sector. His name is Mr. Mduduzi Mzanywa. Mhlekazi, madikwamkela unjani?
Siyaphila siswami kunjani?
Ndiphilile nami. Uyabona le nto sigqibuyithetha indenze ndimkampela. Kodwa ke sibuyile silapha. Let's get down to business.
Sure.
Policies were tabled today.
Okay.
But I want you to specifically tell me, what policy do you think was speaking relevance to infrastructural challenges or issues or changes that are needed within the TVET sector? It could be generically in all TVET colleges within the country, or you can narrow it down to speak particularly to Lovedale College.
Okay. Thank you, Siswam. Not sure whether to greet your the audience. Right. Sisi, there's no specific policy that spoke to infrastructure inside the conference room.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the deliberations were clear that there is a gap. There's quite a gap in what we say and what happens on the ground.
Yes.
I think the reason why we're here is that the lived experiences every day, you find a new gap every day. There's a difference in what's written on paper and what should be. So we are hoping that at the end of the conference, those gaps will be found. And where implementation is short, there'll be high speed to make sure that things are implemented and the effect of those policies is felt. I think you would know that the TVET sector is a baby that's struggling.
It is.
We are short in numbers, we're short in finances. So infrastructure is very key. It's quite a critical part of us, and we always need classes, we always need labs, and a document that speaks to that will definitely assist. We do have policies already speaking to infrastructure, speaking to different policies. Infrastructure, we have governance framework that is there on how to make sure facilities.
Yes.
So we do have a section on facilities that make sure that everything gets moving.
Yes.
So there's not one set policy, but there is different policies working together to ensure that all the colleges benefit from that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now, let's get down to the practical sense of things. Let's be pragmatic.
Sure.
Policies written is not necessarily the experience on the ground.
Sure.
Now, we are tabling policies today. We are discussing, we are investigating the gaps, we're identifying, we're bridging those gaps. But now, from a practical point of view, you are corporate services, meaning that your responsibility is to implement these policies. You bind those who are saying, we signed this, we agree to it. How are you going to ensure that, of course, we cannot enforce a policy, but those who are subject to it need to adhere to it? So, what is it that, as corporate services, because that's your responsibility, you ensure that this vehicle moves practically and that it is applied on the ground? How will you ensure that we adhere, or those bound by these policies adhere to these policies? And what are you going to do to ensure that this actually does practically suffice?
Thank you for that question. The nice thing about this conference is that quite a high percentage of people working at Lovedale are already inside.
Yes.
So part battle has been won already, and the second part, the beautiful thing about policy is that when you make policy, there's a certain process that you follow.
Yes.
We just need to go back and find in the policies that we have already, were people involved? Were they part of, were their inputs considered when policies were made? Because you'd find the different challenges in policy implementation is that you jumped to the next step without even considering
Consultation.
the different steps in policy making.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two, the other thing about policies, policies are tailor-made for a specific institution at a specific time. We need to put our policies on a pedestal just to check, firstly, do they adhere to the governing frameworks, like the laws that are made? And two, how do we tailor-make them to our context in the college?
Absolutely.
We have quite a different environment. We operate differently from many other government institutions. So it does not help us just taking a law as is and then applying it to the college institution.
True.
It might not work.
True.
So apart from that, creating awareness, people should always be taught. Awareness should always be created. You can't work from a position that says you should know. It can't be like that. Just because you were or been in this institution for a while,
Yeah.
I can't expect that you know this. So we work from a position where we say people are on a need to know basis all the time. And if you start from there, we would have halved the job that we need to do, because you can't just assume that everyone knows what's written in black and white, and you can't assume they know how to apply it. I think you spoke of lived experiences. What's written in black and white is usually different case. And you might find, which I hope the conference will help us with, you might find there's a certain situation which is not even defined in the policy. And this is where I'm hopeful that the conference will close those gaps. We're in a different context. People who made the policies might be another province considering different things, but the Eastern Cape in King Williamstown and Alice might be different, even from East London.
True.
So policy must speak to the certain context and the certain situations in which they exist in. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Mduduzi Mzanywa, the HR, or should I say Human Resources Coordinator, that is corporate governance, or rather corporate services within Lovedale TVET College, located in the Eastern Cape, with its headquarters at King Williamstown. Let policy speak to the context at which it finds its application. I think that is what he is alluding to today. Without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, let us see what is happening in the different rooms where there are different sessions, and these delegates today are discussing these policies. Remember, the hashtag is hashtag 200 years. Right?
Most definitely.
And you say performers today and winners tomorrow.
That's
That is
correct.
the tagline at Lovedale College, located right here in the Eastern Cape. And that was Mr. Mduduzi Mzanywa, Human Resources Coordinator from Lovedale College. See you in just a few.
Thank you.